And we've got the opportunity for pop-up storms as we head into the afternoon hours today. We'll have a look at your forecast. Plus, an early morning fire near Carl Junction where a vacant mobile home goes up in flames. What authorities found when they arrived.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5 a.m. I'm Chris Warner and it is now officially Monday, July the 12th. No, 14th. I don't know where I am. Welcome back. Good to see everybody for this Monday morning. Of course, I can't really see you, but I know you're out there. Hopefully you had a great weekend. We had some of those thunderstorms out there, and some of them, as we've discussed, they can get to be strong to low-grade severe. Not expecting that with our pop-up storm chances as we head into the afternoon today, but we will have those rain chances, and temperatures will start to climb this week. I know last week we talked about maybe some below normal temperatures this week. Unfortunately, that has changed and not in our favor. But let's get our Monday started with a live look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Looking pretty good so far. We've got clear skies, but we do have some patchy fog to deal with this morning, and we are going to, of course, talk about that fog here in just a moment. MoDOT camera 20th and range line also looking good this morning. Not much fog from at least those 2 camera sites, but you can see just about everybody, with the exception of Fort Scott and Bentonville, have at least slightly reduced visibilities to some degree. Sedan, Independence, just a hair below. But as you head east, we've got eastern Berry County. We've got some dense fog really just about everywhere this morning. So as always, you know the drill. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. It just feels a little crazy to still be talking about fog this far into July, let alone the summer. Now, to the afternoon, here are those pop-up storm chances, not everywhere all at once. And remember, with pop-up storms, Future Track is giving us its best guess, but they really could be just about anywhere across the area. And once we start to lose the heating of the day, we of course will lose those pop-up storm chances out there until tomorrow. 69 in Joplin right now, 68 in Pittsburgh. Temperatures around the region, they look about like this. Upper 60s, low 70s, a good mix, nothing too crazy, a bit of a mild start. Again, not too bad for this time of year. Heading on to the afternoon, it's still technically going to be below normal at least through today. We'll be in the mid 70s by 9, heading for highs into the upper 80s. We'll have those pop-up storm chances really between about 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. with the best window between 2 and 7, and otherwise winds will be calm or at least light and variable out of the east, so not a bad day. However, temperatures, as I mentioned, will start to climb this week, and they will get a bit on the toasty side. We'll go over all of those details with you in the full forecast, and of course that's coming up here in just a few more minutes. This morning's top stories: just before 1:45 in the morning Sunday, a reported house fire near Carl Junction on County Lane 263. Carl Junction Fire Protection District, Webb City Fire, and Jasper County deputies responded to the scene. A double-wide mobile home was found fully involved with fire and the roof caving in. Authorities tell us no one currently lives there. The cause of the fire is unknown at this time. The Kansas State Firefighters Association, in collaboration with Yates Center Fire Department, held a 2-day fire school for firefighters from across the state. Some skills taught on Sunday include search and rescue, how to read smoke, ventilation, and grain elevator emergencies.
Not only do we, the instructors, get to go out and learn and teach firefighters new things or go over things that maybe they learned and haven't touched on for a while, but it also gives us the opportunity to learn a few things from other firefighters.
The KSFFA hosts regional trainings once a month. And with summer surging into higher and higher temperatures, the inside of a car can get dangerously hot. KOAM's Mitch Adams spoke with law enforcement and local animal agencies to find out more.
Every summer, the consequences of leaving kids and pets in hot vehicles makes headlines. According to Kids and Car Safety, from 1990 to 2024, over 1,100 children have died in hot cars in the U.S. What might seem like a quick errand can turn into a life-threatening emergency in just minutes.
Unfortunately, it's kind of reached that time of year for the 4 states where, temperatures are up there and easily if a car's left outdoors, and the interior temperatures of that car can soar into the triple digits within an hour. So be very cognizant of items and people or pets that you leave in a motor vehicle at a time like that.
Authorities urge everyone to take simple precautions. Always double check the back seat before locking the car. It could save a life and help avoid jail time.
Unfortunately, if you do leave a pet or a child in a car like that, you could potentially be looking at criminal consequences for cruelty to animals, for failing to leave an environment of care for that pet. Or if it's a child in there, you're definitely putting the health and safety of that child at risk. So at the very least, that's child endangerment. So there's some very stiff criminal penalties for doing that.
With animals, signs of heat exhaustion can include excessive panting or heightened body temperature.
And once an animal or a child, anybody, has been heat stressed, they're more likely to get heat stressed again. So you have to remember that it won't take as much to have another crisis.
If you see a child or animal left alone in a hot car, take immediate action and call emergency services. In Pittsburgh, Kansas, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Now, authorities say a good way of reminding yourself to check the back seat by leaving an item like a purse or phone. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, President Trump meets with NATO's chief as he plans to send missiles to Ukraine and threatens new tariffs on U.S. trading partners. And later, climate disasters on the rise, and so is anxiety. Why mental health experts say it's taking a toll, especially on young adults and parents. And we've got those pop-up storm chances out there over the next few days. We also have temperatures heating up. We'll have a full look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Topping Nation Watch this morning, President Trump has teased that a big announcement regarding Russia could happen today. The president yesterday told reporters that he is planning to send defensive weapons to help in Ukraine's fight against Russia. This as the Secretary General of NATO is in Washington today and tomorrow for meetings with President Trump, members of his cabinet, and federal lawmakers. CBS News' Bradley Blackburn has more from New York.
President Trump is set to meet with NATO's Secretary General amid plans to pass weapons to Ukraine through NATO allies.
The European Union is paying for it. We're not paying anything for it, but we will send it. It'll be business for us, and we will send them Patriots, which they desperately need.
President Trump yesterday did not say how many Patriot missiles he plans to send, though the move comes as Russia has stepped up air attacks on Ukraine in recent weeks, despite international calls for a ceasefire. Sunday, the president said he's disappointed with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I thought he was somebody that meant what he said, and he'll talk so beautifully, and then he'll bomb people at night. We don't like that.
A turning point regarding Russia invasion of Ukraine is coming.
On CBS News Face the Nation, Senators Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal pushed a bipartisan Senate bill that would allow the U.S. to slap a 500% tariff on countries that continue to purchase oil from Russia, like Brazil, China, and India.
I think a multifaceted approach here is the only way to bring Putin to the table, because he's a thug. He understands only force.
Meanwhile, both the European Union and Mexico say they're seeking trade deals with the U.S. after President Trump threatened to hit both with a 30% tariff starting on August 1st. The EU has postponed retaliatory measures on U.S. goods that were set to kick in today. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
A U.S. Special Envoy with Keith Kellogg arrived in Ukraine's capital, Kiev, this morning. Ukrainian officials say Kellogg is there to discuss multiple issues, including security, weapons, and sanctions. Still to come, a 9-year-old who can't see but refuses to let that hold her back. How Mila's determination to succeed put her on a global stage. Plus, tracking heat, we're tracking pop-up storms. We'll have another look at your forecast. Time now 5:12. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Coming up now at 5:19 on this Monday morning, and we are starting again with the fog tracker, where just about every community in our area has some reduced visibilities. Grove and Mount Vernon, some of the lower visibilities out there, both under 4 miles. Cassville not far behind at 4.5. You can see some of that denser fog into eastern Berry County. But as you see across the map, almost everybody has reduced visibility. So remember, low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. Give yourself time to get where you're going this morning. And of course, just slow down, be cautious out there. Now, once the fog burns off by about 8, 9 o'clock this morning, we'll have partly cloudy skies. It'll be partly cloudy through the afternoon. And between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., we could get some of those isolated pop-up storms. Now, remember, with pop-up storms, the future track is giving us its best guess. It doesn't mean necessarily that the majority of them will be south of I-44, but we could see pop-up storms really just about anywhere. And we'll lose them, of course, with the heating of the day. So as the sun goes down, we'll have partly cloudy skies overnight. We'll see a return with maybe a couple of thunderstorms in our southern counties, and then we'll go back to the pop-up storm situation as we head through tomorrow afternoon with otherwise partly cloudy skies. We go back to Wednesday, and it's going to be the same situation, another round of at least possible pop-up storms. But as it stands right now, our chances for pop-up storms Wednesday are a bit lower. They're not zero. If you look close enough, you'll see some show up on here, but they're a bit lower than what they are today and tomorrow, and it's not like there's super great chances at this point anyway. All right, so again, patchy fog continuing through about 8, 9 o'clock this morning, near 80 by 8 a.m., mid-80s by 11, and as I mentioned, we could get some of those pop-up storms as early as 11 o'clock this morning. Heading into the afternoon, isolated storms, otherwise partly cloudy, a bit hot. Winds will be calm or light out of the east at best. Upper 80s for our highs, so technically below normal for today. Into the evening, we'll start to lose the pop-up storm chances. We'll still be partly cloudy, mid-70s by 10, falling back in the low 70s overnight with a calm wind, and again, partly cloudy skies. That'll be the case. The pop-up storm chances will continue at this point at least through Thursday. Temperatures, though, start climbing. Now we're going in the low to mid-90s. Last week, we were looking at the pop-up storm data, some of the cloud cover. We were looking at maybe a bit more cloud cover, and that was hopefully going to bring our temperatures a little below normal this week. Unfortunately, that does not look like that's going to be the case. Heating up Friday, Saturday as well. Could get another pop-up storm or two as we roll into Sunday. We'll continue with the low to mid-90s. So temperatures not necessarily going excessively above normal, but definitely heating up over the next few days. And of course, it's July. It's going to be a bit muggy, so we got to watch those heat index values as they could start reaching that 100 to 105 degree range over the next several days. So again, make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure you're staying safe out there as we roll through the upcoming work week. Switching gears to Health Watch this morning, long-term obesity may make young people age faster than normal. A study from Chile looked at adults ages 28 to 31 who had persistent obesity and found that many markers associated with biological aging were accelerated anywhere from 15 to 48% compared to people who were not obese. Researchers say there is concern these signs of aging could raise the risk for several chronic health issues. Recreational cannabis use is on the rise after more states have legalized the substance. A study published in JAMA looked at the effects of legalization efforts and found after 5 years there was a 3% increase in recreational cannabis use. But the study also noted that while there were initial concerns cannabis legalization would also increase cigarette use, that hasn't happened. And for people taking popular weight loss drugs, losing muscle is a common side effect. A study presented at the Endocrine Society's annual meeting found eating more protein while taking semaglutide may help prevent muscle loss. Research showed as much as 40% of the weight loss from the pill comes from lean mass, including muscle. Older adults and women are at a greater risk for muscle loss. A concern over climate change is impacting the mental health of millions of Americans, according to a new poll from the American Psychiatric Association. Two groups in particular appear to be most likely to be impacted. CBS's Jared Hill spoke with a mental health expert to help find out how people can relieve their anxiety.
Deadly flooding in Texas.
Don't even know where to start, where to begin. It's devastating.
The latest catastrophic natural disaster weighing on the minds of Americans. More than 40% of adults report climate change is impacting their mental health, according to a recent survey from the American Psychiatric Association. About a third worry about the issue on a weekly basis, suggesting it's a significant source of stress. Do you worry about climate change?
I worry a lot. I have been worrying.
As a practicing psychiatrist,
When I see patients, these are issues that are coming up.
Dr. Gregory Scott Brown says the research shows people with children and younger adults express the most anxiety.
People who have longer perceived futures are worried about fires and floods and other natural disasters.
It's something Antonina and Will Pattis are concerned about as they think about where to raise their daughter.
One place we are considering is the West Coast, where the climate is slightly milder, but to Will's point, we do have to worry about wildfires more.
Psychiatrists say if you're experiencing climate anxiety that's preventing you from living your life, it's time to reach out to a mental health professional.
I think just opening up a conversation and talking to someone you trust can help. We know that climate change can cause increased anxiety, it can cause depression, and a host of other mental health concerns, so it's important that we're paying attention to it.
Dr. Brown says self-care, good nutrition, and sleep can help relieve anxiety and limit how much media you consume about climate disasters if it's making you anxious. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
That's a look at some of today's top health stories. Time now 5:25. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, how local vendors are helping raise funds to grow a Joplin park. And we've got some patchy fog and pop-up storm chances on the way today. We'll have a look at your forecast. Plus, 1 year after the assassination attempt on President Trump, the Secret Service takes action.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:28 now on this Monday, July the 14th. Happy Monday to you all. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. I know we had some rain, a little bit on the muggy side out there, but hopefully you got an opportunity to enjoy at least some of it before the showers and storms kicked in. And we do have at least some pop-up storm chances over the next few days. We're going to start, of course, with our look outside from downtown Pittsburgh, pointed back toward the sunrise this morning. Got some beautiful colors out there. We also have some very dense fog across the region as well. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline in Joplin, looking good. So here's a look at the fog tracker. And these are some pretty dark colors now, parts of southwestern Labette, southeastern Montgomery County. So not into Independence. That's why Independence is reporting good visibility. Same with Parsons, but you can see that darker circle there. We've got reduced visibilities almost everywhere. Joplin and a good chunk of Jasper County now reporting a mile or less of visibility, about 2.5 miles in Iola, below 5 in Yates Center. So you can kind of get the idea. Just about everyone has visibilities reduced to some degree, with the exception of Fort Scott and Bentonville at this point. So if you're traveling this morning, really anywhere in the 4 states, you guys know the drill. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. Once we get beyond the fog, about 8, 9 o'clock, we'll have partly cloudy skies between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. Could get some of these isolated pop-up storms across the area. And remember, with Future Track, just because it shows the greater concentration south of I-44 today doesn't mean that's where they'll all be. We'll really have the chance just about anywhere. Some good news, not expecting any kind of severe weather with these storms, but as we talked about before, pop-up storms occasionally can reach low-grade severe status for a little bit. So just make sure you're keeping an eye to the sky. Sitting at 68 in Joplin right now, 68 in Pittsburgh as well. Temperatures this morning are sitting into the upper 60s and low 70s, so a pretty decent start to our Monday. And temperatures today will technically be below normal, maybe not by a lot, but they will be. Partly cloudy, mid 70s by 9, low 80s by noon. Our highs today into the upper 80s, and of course partly cloudy skies, a calm wind, and again maybe an isolated pop-up storm or two. This is not our only day of pop-up storm chances, and unfortunately temperatures are going to start to climb over the next several days as well. I'll have a full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Our top stories this morning: North Heights Market in the Park took place at Michael and Geraldine Lynn Joseph Family Park in Joplin. Now, the event had around 40 vendors selling things from plants, clothing, and even pine cone creations and pet tag engraving. The market's goal is to raise funds for new things to enjoy at the park.
Well, the North Heights Neighborhood Group manages this park, and we do a lot of other events like Porch Fest and just community projects. And we were looking for some fundraisers to, get some money to do different things at the park, put in a gazebo and a shed for our lawn equipment and just various things.
Each market is held at the second Saturday of each month from April through September. And Cruisapalooza has once again hit King Jack Park in Webb City. The event not only offered food trucks, live entertainment, a petting zoo, and a car show, also offered a lot more. It also raised awareness for Hope for 22 a Day, a charity that deals with veterans suicide, and What Makes Us Fire, a charity for first responders.
I like the Mustangs personally, but that's just me. And I think they're all amazing. I think they're really cool. Cause sadly, I don't get a lot of time to sit there and go out there and look at all the different cars and stuff. So.
The Cruisapalooza fireworks show was moved to Saturday due to bad weather. And knife makers gather at Buffalo Run in Miami for a forging competition and knife show. KOAM's Mitch Adams brings us more details.
It's something that you can carry this as far as you want. As far as your imagination will allow you, you can build some really, really neat stuff.
Face Off at the Forge, where craftsmanship meets fire and steel.
It's not for everybody. It's for it's something that if you're really passionate about things, and you can be as good as you want. If you're a very picky person, this may be for you. If you are a person that loves things to be in the exact, this could be for you.
Knife makers from across the country gathered to demonstrate their skills, showcasing the art of bladesmithing with live forge competitions.
I mean, this is really a cool deal that this guy's put on. We don't have a whole lot of shows. We drive 5 hours to a show usually. So this one was 6. I was very fortunate that he offered for, give me the opportunity to come up here. We got lucky. We won 5 awards. Wound up winning Best of Show, won folder, buoy, Best EDC, fighter. So
attendees explored booths offering unique handcrafted knives and the essential materials needed for forging, whether a seasoned smith or a beginner. Organizers say that this is the perfect place to learn about bladesmithing, no matter your expertise level.
There are plenty of very high-skilled people that they can learn this from, the trade, and do it while you can, and don't. It's one of those things that people are going to look up to for generations to come.
In Miami, Oklahoma, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Now, celebrity knife makers from the television show Forged in Fire were at the show, meeting guests and selling knives. Let's look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Tariff tensions, why new levies on Mexican and European goods aren't taking effect. Plus, President Trump makes a surprise appearance on the world stage, handing out the FIFA Club World Cup trophy to Chelsea. On the latest on that, you're watching the KOAM Morning News. Time now, 5:35. In Consumer Watch, the European Union is delaying planned retaliatory tariffs on U.S. products in hopes of reaching a trade deal with the Trump administration. The levies were originally set to kick in today, this after President Donald Trump threatened to slap a 30% tariff on goods from the EU and Mexico starting August 1st. Mexico's president says her country and the U.S. are, quote, seeking to reach an agreement so that these tariffs do not exist. Multiple mushroom recalls were announced over the weekend because the products could be contaminated with listeria. The recall affects Aunt Mid's and Peter's sliced mushrooms, which were distributed in Ohio and Michigan, and also LLK Trading's needle mushrooms distributed in New York. Food and Drug Administration says no illnesses have been reported so far. Anyone who has the recalled mushrooms are urged to return them to the place of purchase for a full refund. And Superman soared to the top of the weekend box office, opening with $122 million in North America. Jurassic World Rebirth roared to the second spot with $40 million. F1, the movie, hasn't run out of gas, hauling in $13 million to round out the top 3. And the future of Medicaid and SNAP is a big worry for many people in Missouri after President Trump signed his major spending and tax bill. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, over the next 10 years under the Big Beautiful Bill, the state of Missouri is expected to lose roughly $17 billion in Medicaid benefits. In Arkansas, that number is around $10 billion. Chris Bryant has more from Springfield.
It's going to add a great deal of cost to the state of Missouri. And impact a huge number of people.
According to the Missouri Budget Project, it estimates the added cost to Missouri from the Big Beautiful Bill will be roughly $20 billion.
And it also shifts the burden of financing those programs to the state in ways that are very unique and very expensive.
For comparison, in 2025, Missouri adapted Medicaid changes that, according to data from the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia, showed a 3% decrease in Medicaid spending, affecting nearly 470,000 people in the state.
The good news is that some of these changes don't begin immediately. In fact, none of them begin immediately. Most of them have a phase-in period between the end of this year and a year or two from now.
KFF predicts uninsured in Missouri will increase by 140,000 people, with 100,000 of those coming from changes to Medicaid.
What we'll see in Missouri is actually the first thing that will take effect is actually a positive, and that is the rural transformation funding will go into effect before any of the cuts.
The Missouri Hospital Association says when it comes to the work requirement portion of the bill, 90% of those who receive benefits already meet the new requirements.
To tell that story about how valuable this coverage is to them, meaning how it affects their health, how it allows them to continue to be workers and caregivers and parents.
While the individual coverage is one part, the future of hospitals and clinics in the state of Missouri is another.
Myself personally, I would like to pay close attention to those hospitals in the rural areas, because that's where my big concern was. That's areas that are stretched enough as it is right now.
We need to be a state that thrives in healthcare. I mean, we have 3-4 cities with lots of healthcare providers, and we're about to lose our rural community providers, and that's going to put more strain on people that are sick in the rural areas, because they're going to have to find a way to drive 2 or 3 hours.
For the rural hospitals that currently run on razor-thin margins, they could have to cut even more and make up the loss in other ways.
About $1.4 billion of those cuts will come out of the rural hospitals.
Currently in Springfield, when it comes to inpatient per diem rates paid to hospitals, Mercy Springfield receives just over $2,330 and Cox Health receives just over $2,203. That's it for Consumer Watch. We are also keeping an eye on some patchy fog. Do have a beautiful looking sunrise though this morning. We're going to have more on the fog and our pop-up storm chances, plus the hot temperatures this week when we come back. ICE officials are conducting more raids, this time on 2 cannabis farms in California. Details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. President Trump announcing he will raise taxes on many imported goods from Canada to 35%. Now, the president sending a letter to Canada's Prime Minister saying the increase is due to the Canadian government's decision to retaliate against U.S. duties applied earlier this year. In March, the president imposed 25% duties on Canadian exports not covered by the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. Now, Canada responded by increasing tariffs on $22 billion worth of U.S. exports. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada will keep working toward a new trade framework with the U.S. Federal immigration officials carried out raids on 2 Southern California cannabis farms. The raids happening in the largely agricultural area of Camarillo. Protesters clashed with federal agents outside of the farms. Now, it's reported about 100 farm workers, including some undocumented minors, were detained in the raids. And Friday marks July 11th, meaning it's 7-Eleven, and that has convenience store giant 7-Eleven celebrating with its annual Free Slurpee Day. The company celebrating 98 years of business with their annual tradition of free small Slurpee drinks, but also giving it a twist this year with a first of its kind temporary tongue tattoo. Leaders say you just apply the tattoo on the tongue and watch it appear like magic. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or get updates over to agweb.com.
And, of course, we've got temperatures heating up and patchy fog to deal with. We're going to take a look at your forecast, starting, of course, excuse me, with the fog tracker. And you can see we've got reduced visibilities now just about everywhere, again, with the exception of Fort Scott and Bentonville. We also have some very dark colors. We don't have an immediate reporting station here, but this is US 166, parts of southwestern Labette County, southeastern Montgomery County. Very dense fog. Iola back below a mile now, and that is impacting parts of 54. We've got reduced visibilities through most of Jasper County, northern Newton County, eastern Berry County. So again, it's really everywhere, and so you want to make sure you're using your low beams, not your high beams, and of course fog lights if you've got them. Give yourself time to get wherever it is you're going this morning, because it is better to arrive a few minutes late than not arrive at all. Fog should be done 8-9 at the latest. After that, we'll have partly cloudy skies, and we're going to have opportunities for pop-up storms. Now, again, pop-up storms, there is not a specific trigger for them. Future Track is giving us its best guess. It does not necessarily mean that all of our pop-up storms, or nearly all of them, will be confined south of I-44, but Future Track seems to think that's going to be the better place for chances for pop-up storms. But really, anywhere across the region will have that possibility from roughly 11 o'clock this morning through 7 this evening, with the better window between 2 and 7. Overnight, partly cloudy and pretty decent temperature-wise, and we'll have additional, you can see them here and there, pop-up storm chances as we head through Tuesday. They'll be, again, isolated, but they'll still have those chances out there. And then, once we lose the heating of the day again, we'll lose the pop-up storms. We head into Wednesday. Future Track is picking up on the clouds, but not so much the pop-up storms, but we still have those chances. Again, you barely see 1 or 2. The chances Wednesday are just a little lower than what they are today and tomorrow. And again, with pop-up storms, the chance today isn't all that fantastic, but it'll be a little lower as we head into our Wednesday, and we'll have pop-up storm chances sticking around. Beautiful sunrise. The colors look amazing this morning from our camera at 7th and Rangeline. Patchy fog again through the morning, near 80 by 8 a.m., mid-80s by 11. And again, we'll start to see those opportunities for an isolated pop-up storm or two. That will continue through the afternoon with otherwise partly cloudy skies. Temperatures today technically below normal, which is nice. Winds will be calm or possibly out of the east, but it'll be a very light breeze at best. Calm winds overnight, still pretty mild through the evening, mid-70s by 10, low 70s tonight. And as I mentioned, with those partly cloudy skies, pop-up storm chances will run at this point at least through Thursday. And I know last week we were really hoping for some below normal temperatures this week. Unfortunately, not looking to be the case. We were looking at maybe a little more cloud cover and slightly better than just pop-up storm chances, but that's not looking to be the case. So temperatures will heat up low to mid 90s this week. Maybe some pop-up storms Sunday, and we'll stay hot rolling into next week. And again, we're reaching that point as humidity levels build of getting close to heat index values, starting to reach 100, maybe 105 later this week. So again, just stay hydrated. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. You got to work out there this week, because it is really going to start to feel like summer. And this time for more than just a couple of days. We're talking the next several days. It's going to really feel like summer. That's a check of your forecast. Switching gears now to sports this morning. Saturday, the Joplin Outlaws matchup with the 4th. The Outlaws can't capitalize offensively, and it cost them their winning streak. Joplin loses 6-5 in Game 2. Yesterday, the final day of Major League Baseball before the All-Star break, and the Royals and Cardinals look to head into it with wins. The Royals try to avoid the sweep against the Mets, and in the second with 2 men on, John Rave ropes a ball down the right field line. 2 runs score as KC strikes first. It's 2-0. Go into the 5th. And Mark Vientos grounds the ball to the infield grass. And Bobby Witt Jr. is there, and the all-star shortstop makes the incredible play for the out. So we're going to head to the 9th, same score. Man on second. Jeff McNeil flies one to deep center, and Kyle Isbell jumps and crashes into the wall as the ball spills backward. Right fielder Tyler Tolbert has to come and get it, and McNeil is into third with an RBI triple. The Mets tie the game up, but in the 9th, with a man on second, Nick Lofton slaps a single over the third baseman. Tolbert's racing home, and he scores. The Royals win 3-2 on the walk-off single and enter the All-Star break in style. And the Cardinals also head into the break on a positive note. They take down the Braves 5-4 after losing the last 2 games by 1 run. St. Louis gets revenge, so the Redbirds finish the first half of the season 6.5 games behind the first-place Cubs in the NL Central and 1.5 games behind the wild card in the wild card race. That's it for sports. It's 5:52. We'll be right back. Well, this weekend marks 1 year since the assassination attempt on President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. A gunman opened fire during a campaign rally, grazing Mr. Trump's ear. This week, the agency suspended 6 agents without pay in connection with the security failure. The agency also made other changes, including upgrades that allow agents to communicate over radio directly with local law enforcement. And President Donald Trump took part in a trophy ceremony yesterday for the FIFA Club World Cup. He presented the championship trophy to Chelsea FC following their victory in the final match. The event marked a surprise appearance for Trump at the international soccer tournament. Footage shows him shaking hands with players and posing for photos during the ceremonies. A very unique thing, very cool to be able to receive that trophy, and no less from the president as well. Take a look. That sunrise looks like another Bob Ross painting this morning. We do have some fog out there, so again, low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you've got them, because in all honesty, we have reduced visibilities still everywhere except for Fort Scott and Bentonville, and we've got near zero visibilities near the junction of US 160 and 169, so parts of southeastern Montgomery County, southwestern Labette County, so just keep that in mind this morning. Fog should burn off 9 o'clock. We'll be near 80 by 8, partly cloudy skies, mid-80s rather, by 11 a.m. Between 11 and 7 is when we're going to have our opportunity for pop-up storms with a better window from about 2 to 7, but we could get them anywhere. Not expect anything too crazy, but just remember, when thunder roars, head indoors. We're looking at highs, at least for today, below normal, going into the upper 80s. Winds will be calm or out of the east at a very light rate. Storms wrap up, then we'll go back through the mid-70s by 10. Partly cloudy skies continue, and they'll continue overnight, back in the low 70s. Get a southwest breeze about 5 to 10 tomorrow. Still more pop-up storms. Slightly lower chances on Wednesday, but these chances will continue through at least Thursday. Not looking at that cool down we were hoping for, because we were also hoping for maybe a little more cloud cover, a little more rain to help with that. Not going to be the case. We're going into the low to mid 90s heading into the upcoming weekend. We got to keep an eye on those heat index values. They could start climbing in the 100 to 105 degree range as well. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.